Alrighty, welcome back everyone, it is LaughNgamez here. Today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 replay cast. Today we have ourselves a Protoss versus Zerg, or Zerg versus Protoss, really depends how you want to look at it. The map we have is New Gettysburg here, and it is going to be an awesome game between these two players as we have another cast with arguably two of the best players in the world here. We have, spawning down the bottom right hand side of the map, recently a Kespa Cup finalist. It is Trap, playing for Team Jin Air, the blue Protoss player. And his opponent spawning down in the bottom left hand side of the map, the red Zerg, playing for Team SKT. It is Dark, quite arguably the best Zerg player in the world. Hands down, really, definitely in the top two best Zerg players in the world right now, so Trap's certainly got a challenge for him right now. And Trap, though, is actually going to sort of try and take this game a bit of an interesting route, opening up with a Nexus first on this map, and it's kind of unheard of, really, when you look at it, because if you look at this map, you can see this sort of land bridge, and if a Zerg decided to rush the Protoss player couldn't really do too much about it when opening Nexus first, like Trap is. I guess Trap is deciding, okay, you know what? I'm going to open up like this. Dark's probably not going to expect a Nexus first on this map. The Overlord scouts aren't going to get here too quickly, so I should be fine by the time it really matters. So Trap going for a really economic opening right now, following it up with double gas here. As with the Nexus first, you do get a later first gas, so he's following it up with two quick gases so he can sort of catch up in tech there. So double gate also for Trap. Gonna be making a nice wall off here. Gonna get a Cyber Core later on to complete this wall off. Very quick wall off, so he's gonna be safe even when Dark scouts this here. Trap is gonna want to throw up a pylon pretty soon. No, he's actually not. Look at the timing of this. You think Trap is going to be supply blocked for a while, but no, the Nexus is actually going to be finishing up, so he is actually going to save on that second pylon for a little while here. So Trap's got this build very well thought out right now, and the two Queens are on the way for Dark, so standard macro coming out of these players. Dark does have speed on the way, and Dark, the Korean Zergs tend to be quite aggressive in this matchup. They don't really go for like a super quick economy, really. They like to have a window open, particularly Dark, who's a player who's got such good control, micro decision making. So having this gas option for if he decides to go for any aggression is very good for Dark. He can always throw up any tech if he wants to, as opposed to pulling out of the gas. Anyway, third base on the way for Dark, so he's going to follow this up. The Zerg likes to have lots of larvae, keep up lots of production here. The Ling for Dark was chasing down this probe, but it did get away. And now we see two Adepts on the way for Trap. Protoss left to open up with two Adepts. They can just sort of poke these two Adepts. We're a bit misrallied there. So Trap's going to be a bit delayed on that, but one Ling actually did get into the main base of Trap, started working away on a probe, but that Ling is pretty weak right now, so one probe has the task of trying to catch and kill that Zergling. Very good for Dark, though, getting in, getting a full scout, sees the Twilight Council, sees the gateways, there's really not too much to see right now, as the tech is a bit delayed for Trap, with it being a Nexus first. But Dark knows Trap's on a fantastic economy. Look at the workers right now. Protoss ahead on workers right now. These two Adepts are moving across. They did shade into the main base, and they're starting to pick off these Lings here, but they did get surrounded now, and they are going to go down. Trap not opting to throw out another shade there. I guess he was a bit occupied. Could have maybe kept him alive for a little while longer, but for now, Trap's pretty content. Getting up a Robobay, he's got this wall up. He's going to have a Mothership Core and Warp Gate, so Trap's going to be in a decent situation, but Dark is turning on the aggression right now. We saw Dark was a bit behind on workers, but Dark's getting an Evo Chamber Overload speed, so he could quite possibly be going for a drop here with these Overlords. Evo Chamber pointing towards that. So now we see a Dark Shine on the way for Trap, but did he honestly just make that in the vision of an Overlord? No, Trap playing it so bold, knows that Overlord was there, but just placing that Dark Shine there. So Trap gonna try to cheese Dark out in this game right now. Dark just making more Lings, more Queens on the way. Zergs like to macro lately with lots and lots of Queens, as they're very good for defense. Trap Warp Prism on the way, possibly gonna go for some Adept harassment before he gets his the DTs. Resonating Glaives on the way, so but Dark moving in. Gonna get a scout on this Dark Shrine right now, so he's gonna see that, so he shouldn't be caught off guard right now. He's actually got Banelings, so even if he doesn't have detection, he can always clean up the Dark Templar with the splash of the Banelings. More gateways on the way for Trap. Macroing up, gonna have lots of Adepts and Dark Templar to warp in with this Prism, as it can always go for some harassment for Adepts in this Prism right now, but there is a lot of Banelings and Lings for Dark, so you shouldn't take too much damage from this. The Warp Prism, they'll always give such potential for the Protoss to try and make things happen. Although I think these Adepts are going to want to get out of here. No Resonating Glaives to them quite yet, so the Lings will be quite efficient versus them. Trap needs to get that Warp Prism out of there. I guess he's not too focused on that right now. Instead focused on getting up at third base right now, securing that. So Trap knows that his Dark Trend was spotted. He's going to go for a Macaroon. We actually saw an drop by Dark. I believe he just lost one Link. He didn't get any probes though, I believe. Oh, I guess he did get 8 probes there along the way. Very nice by Dark. His Link certainly made work happen. Now these 2 Adepts are shooing away this Overlord. 2 Adepts in the main base for Trap right now is pretty much all you need to clean up a handful of Zerglings. We see just these 2 players macroing up third base versus third base right now, and we're actually seeing the ever so common double Archon drop coming out of Trap right now, but it's not really a double Archon drop. It's going to be more of a double Archon push right now. Look at this. These Archons are just a perfect wall on this little choke point, but now we see Trap actually going for a bit of an attack. It's a very odd attack because these 2 Archons are supported just by a handful of Adepts, but really the Archons in the Prism are only effective when it's just the Archons, because right now the Adepts are going to have to be abandoned if Trap wants to save these Archons, but Trap taking a decent trade right now, choosing to warp in more Adepts, pulling these Archons back, which are just such a good wall. Trap actually just making a bit of a mistake there. Oh my gosh, is Trap just going to mass Archons or just run in with a handful of DTs right now? He's going for a drop with these with these Archons. Going to try to pull Dark out of the way, and it seems that he might run into the third base, possibly try and pick off the Spore Crawler and then kill the Hatchery, but for now he's getting some good harassment done with these Archons. These Archons are so tough. There's really not much anti-air, so this Prism can always make stuff happen. The DT is now getting in there, starting to pick off the Spore Crawler here. I don't think there's actually an Overseer. No, Dark electing not to go for an Overseer and was content just with the Spore Crawlers, but that's going to cost him. These DTs are now starting to pick off drones here. We're starting to see 8 drones have gone down, the mining has been cut off, and now we see these 3 DTs for Trap are running to the 4th base, so they can always cancel that. If they see them, no, Trap is running away. One of the DTs stayed behind and is going to go down. Trap could have definitely killed that base, or at least done some severe damage to it if he chose to. The Archon's still going for drops with Trap. Great control out of Trap, just trying to keep the pressure on. The Warp Prism is a bit weak though, but look at this, just dropping these Archons, going to pick off the feelings and get out of there. No upgrades for either players right now, so the +1 for Dark that is finishing up is going to give him a bit of an advantage versus just sort of Adepts and any gateway units that Trap decides to go for. No Forge on the way for Trap just yet, so he is going to be behind in the upgrade department. Tunneling or Roach Speed on the way, so Dark is likely going to go for this Roach composition, and he's definitely going for a lot of Ravagers with this. We've seen a lot of Ling Ravager coming out of Korean pros right now. It's just very effective versus gateway units, and that's might be why we see Trap electing for all these Archons. He's going to have sentries, but they're not too effective. But now we actually see Trap has just scouted this drop Overlord, but Dark's going for a drop into the main base of Trap, or actually could be heading towards the natural. Flying over all these gateways, going to give Trap lots of time to react if he chooses to correctly. We see some Stalkers warping in, but these Banelings could drop on and get some damage done regardless. Trap needs to deal with this warping and more Stalkers, and these Banelings are actually going to be caught. But the Banelings are making a mad dash as they sort of abandon ship out of that Overlord. And this one Baneling is chasing down a handful of probes, but they all get cleaned up. Very good defense by Trap, but Dark sort of gave Trap a good amount of time to prepare for that. Archon's dropping in once again, starting to pick off drones. 2 shots, so 2 Archons can one-shot drones here. Trap gonna want to evacuate out these Archons, but they're just getting free damage done with their regenerative shields. More DTs on the way, which are likely going to be warped into Archons here for Trap. He knows that there's a mass Ling composition, and Archons are very good versus that. Here we go, more Archons on the way. So Trap's going to have quite a scary army composition right now. He's had a good economy since the start of this game. Could be looking for a 4th base, as Dark is getting up his own 4th base. Hive on the way for Dark, so he could possibly be going for Ultralisk or Broodlords. We're going to have to see. If it was Broodlords, it would be good for Dark to start a Spire right now, so he can start a Greater Spire when that Hive finishes. We see this Prism being shooed away once again, but Dark's having such a hard time to deal with this Prism right now, as Queens can shoot far, but good control from a player like Trap can sort of just constantly be a thorn in Dark's side. These 2 DTs are sort of just being expensive observers, expensive deadly observers, I guess. Fourth base on the way for Trap. Baneling's warping in for Dark. They're looking to be rallied to the third base to try and get something done. There is a cannon there, and sort of, I guess they will run into the fourth base. And they are scouted by Trap if he's paying attention. The Baneling is sort of running past all these units right now. DT is warping in. Oh no, the DT's. Nope, they're not going to focus that. Mass photon overcharge goes down, shuts them down. That was a lot of photon overcharges. Those Banelings were not sure what they had run into there. You see an Adept getting cleaned up that had the Watchtower vision. Ling run by going to get shut down here by Trap. 4 Archons in the mix for Trap. He's got 4 Archons and 3 Immortals. That's going to definitely be very effective versus this Ling Bane composition. We see a Spire on the way, so it is likely going to be Broodlords coming out of Dark here. Trap, no Stargate on the way, so if he does want to deal with this, it's gonna be hard for him too if Dark does get up to these Broodlords, but Broodlords are quite a while off, so Trap can definitely make an attack happen. We actually see 7 Archons for Trap right now. He's down on army supply. Well, he's actually ahead on army supply right now. He's down on overall supply, but he's got such a scary army. He just warped in another 2 Archons. This is an absurd amount of Archons for Trap. Archons even being pushed by other Archons in the rest of the army. 10 Archons in total. I think this is the most Archons in a pro game I've seen in a long, long time. We see another 2 in this Warp Prism. Trap's going to want to drop those when he has the chance. This Prism getting some work done. 3 Archons move to the north because why not? We see now Trap looking to take a good engagement. Got an amazing split. Force fields go down, lock out these Banelings here, and these Banelings can't get much done. Torso bombs break the force fields, but Trap does have lots of energy, so he can always call in more force fields, and he's doing just that. These Banelings are bleeding off slowly, albeit, but now they're moving in. They're just going to connect with the sentries, but their use was sort of over. Now they're connecting with these Archons, but they're almost nullified. Now it's up to the Immortals and Archons to clear out these Ravagers. Yes, Ravagers can micro very good versus these sort of short-range units, but there's so many Archons, and they are getting on top of these Ravagers right now. Dark got lots of Lings on the way, gonna try and deal with this. Protothon's raining down, actually connecting with a few of the Archons. The Immortals still making work happen. The Archons trying to clean up the Lings so the Immortals can clear up the Ravagers. The Ravagers very good control by Dark, though, managing to deal with this this rough punch units right now. The Ravagers are chasing away the Immortals. 2 Immortal, 1 Immortal. Okay, another Immortal came to reinforce. Sort of an Archon sandwich right now. Trap reinforcing with some Adepts, with some DTs, but that attack was ultimately held by Dark, and Dark getting up a Greater Spire now. +2 is done for, well, almost going to be done for Trap, so he could be going for round 2 right now. It is hard for both these players to remax their army. They'll sort of remax at the same rate, so it is just going to be like an attack into another attack, and we see Trap making so many Archons right now. Can also warp in a good amount of Adepts if he gets up a if he has the Warpins, as he's got so many minerals right now that he could do with spending. I believe Trap did lose that Warp Prism, so to push in, he is going to need that. We see Corruptors on the way. They'll be able to shut down the Warp Prism, but more importantly, if these Corruptors are revealed, it's going to put Trap into a panic, because he'll know Broodlords are short to fall, and Trap can't stay on this composition for long. Broodlords are going to be on the way, and that's going to be sort of like a death bell for the Protoss player, as Trap has this scary Archon Immortal composition right now. It's so tough. These units are so tough with their +2 attack. In fact, I think those Archons actually just one-shot a Ling there. Very scary, but if Trap's taking the Samak route, and if he wants to do that, he needs to get up a counter to Broodlords. I guess he's not aware of this. He's going for some harassment now, and he's going to see the Hive, but whether he'll see the Greater Spire, and now he is going to see the Greater Spire. No, he actually just pulls out at the last second. This is going to be a very costly loss for Trap, as he didn't identify that. He saw the Hive, but he's not prepared for this. 4 Broodlords are on the way for Trap. Trap, I'm not sure if he has Blink. Okay, he did research Blink, so he can try to deal with it sort of the tough way by making mass Blink Stalkers and hopefully getting a good engagement on top of the Broodlords. But when it's mass Lings, we actually see a run by here. 4 DTs, well, 2 DTs and 2 Adepts are warped in to try and deal with this. The Trap's economy is now taking a beating. He's falling behind in supply. The Broodlords are done, and the second Trap sees this. Well, he's actually seeing it now, so he's going to be in a panic. And I'm not really sure what the correct move for Trap is. He can try to get up Stargate, but it's likely going to be too late here. He can try to break the Broodlords, but there's so many Banelings, it's going to be so tough to take a fight. Trap moving in here, he's dropping Adepts at the front. The Broodlords are so effective versus Archons, and Archons cannot really deal with Stalkers. And GG gets called as Trap knows the game is over, identifying that Broodlords transition a little bit too late, not sort of expecting it. Very well done by Dark managing to take that game. He held off. He did what he needed to do. Great run bys all at the same time. That's the sort of play we see out of a player like Dark, just always getting harassment and then just ravaged the third base and was heading towards Dark's fourth base, to Trap's fourth base. Regardless, if you guys enjoyed the cast, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy StarCraft 2 content, feel free to subscribe because I'm always putting it out. I'm trying to aim for one video a day right now. Always casts that are always fun. Anyway, I shall see you guys next time.